Hey everybody, I hope you're doing good. I hope you had a good week. This is the weekly video for April 20th, trying to get it done a little bit early. This is the last week before you take your test two, but it's the first test for since we've been in remote learning. Later on in the week, I will post another video talking about the test itself and also encouraging you to come to our online study session, which will be, I think, April 27th. It's on the calendar. This week is dedicated to Chapter 10, the right to privacy. The right to privacy is a very interesting and controversial liberty. The right to privacy, speaking broadly, is the right to be left alone by the government, that the government doesn't have a right to interfere with the decisions that you make in your house, with your body, in your bedroom, in sexual matters, when it comes to decisions that you want to make at end of life. And so the right to privacy covers a lot of different issues, but all revolving around the sort of fundamental liberty we have to be left alone. Now, obviously, like all of our liberties, none of them are absolute, but this chapter takes a look at to what extent we have that right to privacy. So we'll start, the chapter starts with talking about where we find the right to privacy. As you know, there is nothing in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights that explicitly states that we have a right to privacy. So the first thing that your chapter and the first PowerPoint slide sort of look at is where the right to privacy is located in the Constitution. And then the first set of cases that we take a look at is, we take a look at the landmark case Griswold versus Connecticut, that is an important case because it actually is the first time that the court establishes the right to privacy. And then, we look at the way the right to privacy has been applied to other issues. Griswold deals with whether or not you can use contraceptives or whether or not the state can criminalize the use and distribution of contraceptives. But after Griswold establishes the right to privacy, the question is, what other matters does it apply to? And so we'll take a look at a series of cases dealing with abortion. Obviously, the landmark case Roe v. Wade that establishes that the right to privacy does apply to abortions, and that early in your pregnancy that you have a constitutionally guaranteed right to have an abortion. And then we'll look at how, following Roe v. Wade, the court has changed or sort of restricted the circumstances under which a person can exercise that right. And so we start with Roe, but then we look at a couple of other cases that look at how the court has sort of changed or modified their position vis-a-vis the right to privacy and abortion. After that, we take a look at cases having to do with private decisions. We'll take a look at the cases dealing with the sodomy laws that were passed in some states, basically making it a criminal offense to have any sort of sex that isn't like missionary position sex between a man and a woman. It outlaws other kinds of sex, oral sex, and also anal sex. And so we'll take a look at those cases that deal with and ask the question, does the right to privacy make those sort of sodomy laws unconstitutional? And then we end out the chapter 10, taking a look at the right to privacy as it relates to the right to die. So it's a really interesting chapter, and it's a chapter that is, still very controversial. And it's a good chapter because it's going to relate to the second part of the most dangerous branch that looks at the extent of the power of the Supreme Court. And one of the things they look at is the right to privacy as it relates to abortion. And so that's what we'll be doing this week. You have two things due. You have a quiz 7. Keep in mind that you didn't have a quiz last week, but you have a quiz this week. And that quiz covers both chapters 9, the right to bear arms, and chapter 10. And then you also have a case brief due. later this week, and that you get to choose from either a case from the right to privacy, or you get to choose from, you get to choose from a case from Chapter 9 having to do with the right to bear arms, or you get to choose a right to privacy case. Keep in mind, Roe v. Wade is not one of the cases that's available to do a case brief because it's the example that is used in the case brief assignment. So that's it for today. And it's finally nice out there, a little bit warm today. Today's Saturday, so I hope you're able to get outside and enjoy some of the sunshine and warm weather. So good to talk to you, and I'll talk to you again soon.